Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to see how we can create SharePoint modern pages using new set of MS Graph APIs to create pages and publish pages. So a couple of years back, I did one video and that is related to create SharePoint page automatically with PowerAutomate. There I used send HTTP action with SharePoint where I actually sent the body which I extracted out of the template.aspx. So that was a kind of tricky process, kind of erroneous as well. So now because we have new set of MS Graph API which is related to SharePoint pages, so I can show you that. Over here I'm into MS Graph Explorer and where I can find the SharePoint new set of API endpoints that is in beta for getting all list pages, get a SharePoint page, create a SharePoint page, update, publish and delete a SharePoint page. So over here we have this new set of endpoints which can be leveraged with PowerAutomate or with any of your code where you want to work with MS Graph API to create these new pages. So we are going to just walk you through all these endpoints and how then we can leverage these endpoints into our PowerAutomate over here to make a HTTP call to the MS Graph API where we can create these new pages just like that, and that will be created with SharePoint app. So over here you can see modified by SharePoint app. So that we are going to see. So let's start looking at the new endpoints. Get list all pages in a SharePoint site. So over here you can see we have to have the site ID. So for that we need to go to the other SharePoint endpoint to get the site. First of all, I'll just say get SharePoint site based on name. So I'll pass on my site name over here and we'll just run it so that we can get this site ID out of it. And over here I have this site ID, so I'll just copy this site ID and we'll save in a notepad so that we can use this site ID in our next API endpoints. And now I'll go back to SharePoint pages, and in this URL I'm just going to replace this site ID which we got and we'll run it. So this API would give me all the pages into my SharePoint, this specific site, and these are all the site pages along with their metadata. So which says that it's a page layout of article, promotion kind is page, who created, modified, and what areas we are having. So we can expand it further to get the actual content out of the page. Let's say if we want to get the what all web parts are there in this, then we can as well get that. So over here to get the web part we have to use one more endpoint, that is list all web parts on a SharePoint. So over here you see it takes the site ID, page ID and expands the web parts. So site ID we have copied, so I'll just replace my site ID over here, and for the page ID let's take that page ID from my notepad. So I have this page. This is also you can extract via giving the previous call. So if you list down all the pages, then there you will get the ID of the page and you can replace that very well. So for time being I'm just copying it, and if you run it you will get the web part content out of this current page. So you can see I have this web part content which is a text web part, standard web part, image and the couple of others. So that's how you can actually use these MS Graph endpoints to extract the content of any page. So our objective is to create a page. So we'll just again go to this set of SharePoint pages beta endpoints and we'll go to create page. In this create page you would see I have default request body which says that page name, title, what kind of page you want to create and promotion kind. So it can be news or, and this page layout it can be article, home based on the layout you want to have. And again we have to paste the site ID. So this is our page, so I'll just copy the site ID again, and right now we are directly doing on MS Graph Explorer, but we'll soon start to leverage PowerAutomate to create these pages. So over here I have just pasted my this site ID in this endpoint and we'll run it. So it will create the page with this name And if I go to my pages and I'll just remove the entire filter, I will see the new page created. If I just sort by this modified newer to older, I'll see this new page created few seconds ago, and that is again the type of article, the way which we want to create it via MS Graph Explorer. So we got this page, so this is working, but this doesn't solve our problem because our requirement is to create the pages programmatically with some sort of content by default to it, so that we can decide that if my request is of type article, then I should have article page where I should have two text web parts, one image web part, one quick link web part. So that sort of request can be only accommodated if we fill out this body properly, and that body has to be the canvas layout in the canvas layout structure. So what section it should be there, for that I have created one sample JSON which actually contains all this information. If you see, so this part which we are already looking at are this existing one, so this is common. In the title area you can put what sort of styling the title area should have. So right now it's saying with a in background image URL, author true, it should show author, it should show publish date, text alignment, it should be middle or left. So that property you can set. And the important part is this canvas layout. So in this canvas layout we have to decide what sort of section you should have, what would be the layout, 1/3 right columns, and then what this column would contain. So right now this is a web part which would contain the inner text, whatever text you want to create. So for example, for article web pages, you want to default it to some text editor, you can put your default text, so this text can be replaced, something like that, so that whenever something you want to automate this provisioning of page, then you can put the default content, this text can be replaced. And if you wish to add the image web part, if you wish to add the quick link web part, then you can keep on appending to this web part JSON sample file. So I'll just copy this one, and this sample, whatever sample could be there, the layout you can get it via MS Graph API create page. So you can just go to this Learn Microsoft page where you would get the sample of this content, this one, and you can copy this content, change your layout based on your requirement, and very well play with it. So I have just copied this, and I'll just try to create this new page, and I will say this as test demo 1 with the article page, and we'll try to create this page. So this page got created, we got this 201. On refreshing, I can see I have this test demo 1 page, and which has this background image and shows my name as I kept it as show publisher name, and this text can be replaced, the image web part and the other sections whatever you wish to have. So you can very well set the other metadata property of this page. So this way we are able to create our page, but how to do it via PowerAutomate. So we will use the same endpoint and same body with the PowerAutomate. So I'll just start creating one new flow, and I'll say that for time being as manual trigger flow, but you can set this up based on, for example, if you're having a SharePoint list where SharePoint list has the category of pages, and you want to provision the pages based on that category. Article page should have these 3 text web parts, and the other quick links page should have like 5 sections for quick link. So that sort of way you can add. And these pages, if I open this again, so you would find that it has this web part IDs, which web part type ID and the web part ID, which can be replaced with the desired layout. So this is the ID for the image web part, this is the ID for text web part. So you have to just keep this in mind, like whatever type of web part you want to use, you have to replace the right type of IDs to it. And to grab the ID, you can actually do this get SharePoint page with web parts, the earlier command. So if I just go to my last execution where I see these web parts, if I just run this query again, you will find all the web part IDs. So you can create one manual page and then extract the web part IDs out of it. If I go scroll down, I will have the web part ID. For example, this is the ID for this web part. So this web part ID can be used for text. So this is how you can build it. Now with PowerAutomate, we can go to this manual trigger and I will add an action for HTTP, and this is a premium connector where I am going to make a post call to MS Graph endpoint, and we cannot directly use the MS Graph endpoints, for example Office 365 send groups connector, because that is the resource is limited to it. So that's why we have to use the HTTP trigger for it. So you can paste the information, post URL from MS Graph Explorer. I'll just go back and grab my URL for creating page, and this is my URL. And this one, before that, if you wish to like get the site ID, you don't want to hard code, then make a one more call. So this way you will get the site ID. For example, for right now we are just putting it hard coded. We are doing a post method. In the headers, you can put the header as content type application JSON, and in the body we have to specify the body which we are going to pass. So this body is same, so I'll just copy this, but I'll just replace the name as demo2 so that we can distinguish our pages. So I'll just paste it, and in the body just remember to add the one more @ to escape character, otherwise it will not take it as a valid body. So whenever you are making call, just add one more escape character @. So we have added up our body, and in the advanced we have to add the authentication, and in authentication we have to set the authentication accept active directory auth, and over here I'll just open my that intra ID. So I'll just go to portal office. So because in my past videos I have already told like how we can make call to MS Graph APIs via application via client ID and client secret. So for that I will keep that video description or the URL into description so that you can directly watch it. But for now I'll just go to my this intra ID, Microsoft Intra, and over here we'll find our registered application for accessing MS Graph endpoints. So it's very easy to register. I'll just open this intra.microsoft.com and we'll go to this applications app registration. You can register a new app, or if you have already registered, you are already working with MS Graph APIs, then it's good. I will select this one of my app which is allowed to make calls to MS Graph endpoints, and over here if I go to app permissions, so you will see this app has permission to make all sort of operations to site manage all, read, write, so and granted admin access as well. So this one I'll just go to client certificates and secrets, and I'll copy one of the secret which I'm going to use for this call, or you can create a new secret. And for getting the client ID, you have to get the client ID from this. So you can very well create a new registration, new service registration. You have to just actually grant the permission for MS Graph API endpoints, and that's it. You are ready to go. Very quick to set up. So I'll just replace my this client ID and client secret. So I filled up this information. So authority would be login.microsoftonline.com, and tenant would be tenant ID of you. So you can get tenant ID from over here. So if you go to overview, then you will find your tenant ID over here, and you can paste it, and audience would be graph.microsoft.com. So this way you can save it, and I'll just save, and we'll expect this PowerAutomate to create one page, and that page will not be checked in. So in our next HTTP call, we are going to check in that page. So we are going to use one more endpoint for that. Let's test this first of all. I'll just run this manually. So our call is successful, and if we go to our site pages, we'll do a refresh. I'll just filter it by the modified by, because this is created via SharePoint app, but this page is not checked in yet, so it's not visible to me. So what I have to do, I have to do one more endpoint to publish this page. So I'll just copy this my previous action and replace it, and I'll insert this second HTTP action, and over here we are going to take help of the other endpoint which is for publishing this page. Otherwise that page would not be visible to us. So I'll just expand this, publish SharePoint page, and I'll copy this one, put it in a notepad so that we can replace this site ID and the page ID. So which page we want to publish. So right now we'll just hard code. I'll just grab that from my history, the site ID, so that I should not again making a call. So I'll just replace that to site ID, and page ID we will get that from our last run. So I'll just go to our last run to check like what page ID we got, and we'll expand our last run to get the page ID. And this to get the page ID, you can very well use the dynamic operation, but objective of this video is not to how to interpret the body. So for that you can watch my any other video. So I'll just copy from the output the ID of this page. So this is the page ID which was created. I'll just copy this one and replace into this publish endpoint. I'll copy, and we'll just modify our this PowerAutomate again and replace the second HTTP operation with this publish endpoint. And this is again of type post, and we have to remove this entire body, and the information, authentication information would remain same. I'll save it and I will publish it. So I have to move this operation as first, because my previous operation would result into fail, because this page already exists. It will not create this page back. So I'll just drag and drop this copy operation so that this page gets published before the page creation again. So I'll just run it, and after successful run we'll see our page. So this is successful, but this will fail. It should fail as expected because this page already exists. That's why we got a conflict. Now we can go to our site pages, and we are expecting that test demo to available for us, because I have logged in with my credential and the page is created with SharePoint app. Until unless it's published, you cannot view it with other user. Click on it. It should retain the content of the page with the text web part and the image web part, and that's where we have it. So that's how we can automate creation of any SharePoint pages based on our requirement with this new set of SharePoint pages API endpoints. So these are still in beta, but the changes or the modification or the improvements can happen, but it will still work with our requirements. So that is it for today's video. If you have any question, then please do drop your comments, and I'll put this entire web part JSON in one of the my pinned comments, so that you can directly grab it if you want to, if you don't want to find it online anywhere. So that is it for today's video. Thank you.